What's up, my friend? Mike Robertson here. And today I want to talk to you about the absolute worst program you will ever have to write. Now, if you've been doing this for 5, 10, maybe even 15, 20 years, you know that if somebody comes to you with a very clearly defined goal, whether it's getting stronger, losing body weight, improving their conditioning, it's very, very simple to write that program because you have a very clear directive. You have a very clear outcome you're trying to achieve. Now, unfortunately, along the way, you're probably going to get the person that comes to you who just wants to be healthier or they want to be fitter. And let's be honest, those are the absolute worst programs to write because there is no clear directive. There is no clear KPI that you should be focusing on. So here's what I would suggest. If you ever have a client or maybe even an athlete that just says, oh, I just want to get in better shape, I would do my best to try and steer them towards a very clearly defined outcome of some sort, a KPI, a key performance indicator. So if somebody comes in and they say, hey, I want to be fitter, I would first off try and corner them a little bit and say, well, what does that mean to you? And something that we did over the years was, hey, if somebody just wants to maybe get a little bit stronger, that's the goal that we have defined for them. Okay, hey, how are we going to measure that? Maybe it's their squat or their bench press or their deadlift. Those are fantastic KPIs. They're very measurable, and you can track on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis how much progression that they're seeing. Okay, so that's one obvious one. A lot of times when people talk about being healthier or being fitter, they're really talking about losing body weight or losing body fat. So again, these are very easy metrics to track. If they're doing their scale weight, maybe we're tracking that once a week, right? Every Monday, so we know, are we seeing any kind of progress on a week-to-week basis? A lot of times with body fat, unless somebody's on a very, I don't want to say extreme, but on a very intense diet, they're not going to see week-to-week progress. So maybe it's every 2 weeks or maybe every 3 weeks, we're going to track their body fat percentage. So that's another one. Now, a third one that I don't hear people talk about quite as much, but I think could be equally valuable is tracking something that measures their conditioning or improvements in their conditioning. Because a lot of times when people talk about being healthier or being fitter, they're talking about from a cardiovascular perspective. So a couple things you could do here. Number one, resting heart rate would be fantastic. And there's so many wearables, so much tech you can use now, whether it's an Oura ring, whether it's a BioForce band, a Whoop band. There's so many options out there. Resting heart rate could be a great one. Another option could be actually doing some form of conditioning test. And again, if you're familiar with Joel Jamieson's work, he is the absolute GOAT when it comes to this stuff. But beyond resting heart rate, you could look at a 1-minute go test. So having them go on an Airdyne or going on a rower or going on a run, whatever you choose, having them do that all out for a minute, tracking how quickly their heart rate comes back down under 130 beats per minute. So that could be an option. You could do either a modified or a full Cooper's test to try and see, okay, how high does their heart rate come up? How much ground do they cover? How quickly does their heart rate come back down? So to summarize this, the last thing you want to do is write a general fitness program. It's the absolute worst. There's no way to tell if somebody is actually improving. And it's frustrating not only for you, but for the client as well, because they have no way to demonstrably prove for better or worse if they're getting better. So find some form of KPI, try and corner them, find some measurable or trackable way of gauging their progress, and I guarantee everybody involved is going to enjoy the process a whole lot more.